Hey everyone, welcome to the podcast with the amazing Tom Holland, the actor who brought Spider-Man to life in the Marvel Universe. Today, we're diving into some fascinating questions about his journey, including how he quit alcohol and how journalism sometimes portrays him as not just a happy-go-lucky person. Plus, we'll be learning some cool new vocabulary along the way. We'll explain the meanings and give you examples as we go. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation.
Something that did really upset me, I was in New York, I was shooting the crowded room, and I was having a really hard time with the job just because of how taxing it was, the emotional capacity that I was having to get to every day. And I decided to delete my Instagram because I just felt like I was so addicted to this kind of false version of my life that it was just taking over. I would be on set working, I'd come and sit in my chair and just scroll. And it was becoming a problem. I was just obsessed with it, and I was obsessed to find out what people were saying and what they thought about me. So I decided to make an announcement, which unfortunately we have to do, and say that I'm taking a break from social media. And I tried to position myself and say, like, I'm taking a break from social media because I feel like my mental health will benefit from it. And the thing that really upset me is the press ran with that, and they tried to make out that I was having this mental breakdown. And what upset me was, if I was having a mental breakdown, that's not for you to report on. They took the story in the wrong direction, and they painted again this negative light on mental health, rather than saying, oh, he's doing it. It's okay that he's doing it, so we should all feel okay to do it too. They were saying, oh, look, he's not the perfect happy-go-lucky kid you think he is. He's having a nervous breakdown in New York. And I think that was a really unfair line of journalism, let's say, because I just think it, again, kind of painted people looking for help in the wrong light, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. It almost sounds like you were actually preemptively going, I'm doing this so that I don't go in that direction.
Totally.
So, at least I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but
absolutely.
It's almost like I'm proactively seeing that I could end up in a position where I might have a breakdown. I don't want to be in that position. And so I'm responsibly saying, guys, I'm taking a break in order to protect myself.
100%.
Yeah, which makes a lot of sense and actually is quite admirable again.
Totally. Yeah. And that's kind of what the message of the show is about. Like the message of our show is that asking for help should be something that we celebrate.
Yeah.
If you're struggling, if you need help, if you feel bad and you wake up and you go to a friend, a therapist, a teacher, an employee or a colleague and say, I'm really struggling, I need some help. That should be something that we give you a pat on the back. Like, I would love to help you. I'm delighted that you asked me. And that, for me, that announcement was kind of my olive branch, and the press ran with it how they ran with it. But to be fair, it kind of gave me a great drive to finish the crowded room in the way that we did. To, like, if you're not going to listen to my personal message, then you have to listen to the message of my show.
Yeah.
So it kind of went hand in hand, maybe.
Let's look at some difficult words with examples. Obsessed, meaning thinking about something or someone all the time. Example, she is obsessed with that new video game. She plays it every day for hours. Happy-go-lucky, meaning not worrying about the future, carefree. Example, he has a happy-go-lucky attitude, always smiling and taking life as it comes. Painted, meaning covered with paint, also can mean someone wearing a lot of makeup. Example, the wall was freshly painted in bright yellow. She was painted in heavy makeup for the costume party. Preemptively, meaning doing something before it is needed or before someone else does it. Example, she preemptively started studying for the exam, even though the teacher hadn't announced the date yet. Proactively, meaning taking action to make things happen rather than waiting for things to happen. Example, he proactively solved the problem.
One of the things that you mentioned recently was that you gave up drinking about a year and a half ago.
Yes.
And you said it was the hardest thing you ever did.
Yes.
And I wanted to know, what was so hard about it for you? Why was it so hard?
It's interesting. I didn't one day wake up and say, I'm giving up drinking. I just, like many Brits, had a very, very boozy December. Christmas time, I was on vacation, I was drinking a lot. And I've always been able to drink a lot. I think I get my genes from my mum's side in that thing. Like I can drink. And I decided to just give up for January. I just wanted to do dry January. And all I could think about was having a drink. It's all I could think about. I was waking up thinking about it. I was checking the clock. When's it 12? And it just really scared me. I just was like, wow, maybe I have a little bit of an alcohol thing. So I sort of decided to punish myself and say, I'll do February as well. I'll do 2 months off. If I can do 2 months off, then I can prove to myself that I don't have a problem. 2 months go by and I was still really struggling. I felt like I couldn't be social. I felt like I couldn't go to the pub and have a lime soda. I couldn't go out for dinner. I was really, really struggling. And I started to really worry that maybe I had an alcohol problem. So I decided that I would wait until my birthday, which is June 1st. I said to myself, if I can do 6 months without alcohol, then I can prove to myself that I don't have a problem. And by the time I had got to June 1st, I was the happiest I've ever been in my life. I could sleep better. I could handle problems better. Things that would go wrong on set that would normally set me off, I could take in my stride. I had such better mental clarity. I felt healthier. I felt fitter. And I just sort of said to myself, like, why am I enslaved to this drink? Why am I so obsessed by the idea of having this drink? And I would look back and recognize that I would go to events for work and be like, I can't enjoy myself until I've had a few beers. And I just felt so much pressure. And this is one of the things why I've sort of distanced myself from the rugby community, because so much of it is about how much can you drink? Let's get you as drunk as possible. And it's honestly been the best thing I've ever done. I'm a year and a half into it now. It doesn't even cross my mind. I've found amazing replacements that I think are fantastic. Ones that are also really healthy. I found this one beer that it's full of electrolytes and it's, you know, the carbohydrates in it are long-lasting energy. So like having a beer is now actually like a really healthy thing. I'm really lucky that all my friends are super supportive about it. I've never run into that scenario where my friends are like, oh, go on, just have a beer. Like, you're fine. They've always sort of really supported me. And I don't want to be that person that's saying to people, you should get sober, you should get sober. If I could encourage someone to drink less, then that's great. But I don't want to start getting into the world of you need to stop drinking, because it's not for me to say. I went on my own little journey. I'm really enjoying it. I'm delighted that my mum's has also given up. She's loving it. And it's been amazing. I can't believe the difference that I feel from not drinking. Yeah. I feel amazing.
That's amazing, man.
Let's look at some difficult words with examples. Brits, meaning informal term for British people. Example, the Brits are known for their love of tea. Boozy, meaning involving a lot of alcohol. Example, they had a boozy night out at the pub. Genes, meaning units of heredity that are passed from parents to offspring. Example, she inherited her blue eyes from her parents' genes. Scared, meaning feeling fear or being frightened. Example, the loud noise scared the cat. Set off, meaning to begin a journey or to trigger something. Example, they set off early in the morning for their trip. Enslaved, meaning made to be a slave, forced to work without freedom. Example, many people were enslaved during the colonial period. Scenarios, meaning possible situations or sequences of events. Example, they planned for different scenarios in case of bad weather. Sober, meaning not affected by alcohol, serious or calm. Example, after the party, he decided to stay sober and drive home.
Who do you admire growing up in acting? Who do you admire today? Like, who have been the people that, and maybe on a mindset level, or maybe on or a performance level as well?
There are definitely performances of people that I look up to. There are the types of careers of certain actors that I really admire. There are also like the types of lives that certain people lead that I really admire and that I really aspire to sort of be like. I tend to let all of my admiration go towards athletes. I'm just so blown away by what they can do under the pressure that they're under. Me as an actor, I realize that my job is a high pressure job because it reaches millions of people. But that said, there are so many people that help me get to where I need to be. I get picked up, someone makes me breakfast, someone writes the words that I'm supposed to say, someone chooses my costume, someone does my hair and makeup, someone sets the camera up. ultimately I walk onto set and I do my bit, but I'm a small part in a massive machine. But when you look at someone like Djokovic or Federer or, you know, this new Alcaraz, you know, or the golfers or Lewis is slightly different because Formula One is so much about the team and the car and all that sort of stuff. They have to do it themselves at a certain point. There's only so much help they can get. But then when they walk onto that court for the first time, when they walk into the ring or into the octagon, it's them by themselves. They're under that amount of pressure. It's up to them whether they deliver or not. And I just have always been admiring of seeing some of the greats lose their win streak and come back even stronger. I've always really been an admirer of people that are able to do that. I think it's a folly when you see these win streaks of 50-0 and all that sort of stuff. And you're like, well, that to me isn't what a champion is. A champion is someone who had it all, lost it all, and got it right back again. Mm-hmm. Tyson Fury's story is a crazy one. I'd love to see AJ come back and be on top again because I'd love to be alive to witness that legacy that he would leave behind, you know. I feel sorry for him, what happened to him when he sort of seemed to really lose it a little bit in the ring when he took the microphone. And I'd love to see him back on top and to have some clarity and to be a champion again because I admire him as an athlete. So I save most of my admiration for athletes and musicians.
Let's look at some difficult words with examples. Sort of, meaning to some extent, somewhat. Example, I'm sort of tired, but I can still go out. Admiration, meaning a feeling of respect and approval. Example, she has great admiration for her teacher's dedication. Blown away, meaning extremely impressed or surprised. Example, I was blown away by the beautiful scenery. Massive, meaning very large or extensive. Example, the concert attracted a massive crowd. Slightly, meaning to a small degree, a little. Example, she was slightly nervous before the interview. Up to, meaning doing or capable of, until a certain point. Example, he's up to something mischievous. You can spend up to $50